Welcome to today's Escape to the Country. Now this is just a tiny part of what is the longest footpath anywhere in the UK, but it started out life as a patrol route. So where are we? Well, join me in just a few moments and I'll tell you.
On today's show, we're helping a recently retired couple who are partial to modern interiors.
You like contemporary?
Yeah.
This is contemporary with a vengeance.
It certainly is, isn't it?
And when it comes to sizing up properties, they're spookily in sync.
It's quite unique.
Oh, yeah, we said the word together.
Well, today we are in Cornwall, and I'm standing on just a tiny fraction of the southwest coast path. It runs for some 630 miles. It begins up in Somerset near Minehead, then runs all the way around the 300 miles of the Cornish coast before finally ending up at Poole in Dorset. Now, up until 1913, it was used by the Coast Guard, looking for smugglers stashing contraband down there in the coves and caves. But of course today, it's popular with walkers and ramblers, and as you can see, it does afford, I think, some of the most spectacular views of this dramatic coastline.
Stretching out into the Atlantic Ocean, Cornwall is bordered by Devon to the east and is Britain's westernmost county. Here the sea is a constant theme. The spectacular, deeply indented coastline is close to 300 miles long, with wave-pounded granite cliffs and pristine villages wedged between craggy headlands, like Polperro with its fishing heritage that dates back to the 13th century. On the north coast, the formidable surf of its wide sandy beaches draws adrenaline junkies from all over the world. With its own language and rich Celtic heritage, the county has a unique and distinctive culture. And in April 2014, the Cornish people were formally declared a national minority by the government, joining the Scots, Welsh and Irish. The independent spirit here, combined with exceptional scenic beauty, is what gives this county such an enduring appeal.
Well, escaping to this idyllic county is more affordable than you might think, with average prices reflecting the national figure of £267,000 for a detached property. And of course, Cornwall has always been popular with the rest of the UK. It's estimated that some 60% of buyers are moving here for the very first time. But what is it about this gorgeous county that's attracted today's couple? Well, time now to meet them and find out.
Carol and Keith, who met when Carol took a job as branch manager of Keith's insurance company in 1984, have been living in their 5-bedroom home in the town of Fleet, Hampshire, for the last 6 years. But since they sold the business 3 years ago, they're ready to find a more rural home where they can really enjoy their retirement.
Well, the area we currently live in is becoming more and more built up as time goes by. It's a commuter town as far as I'm concerned.
We started to look about 18 months, 2 years ago for another property, principally in Cornwall because that's where my daughter and family had moved to.
Apart from the fact that I've loved Cornwall since I was a child and I've always wanted to live in Cornwall, in the country. It's always been a dream of mine.
Tied in with Keith and Carol's quest for a country life is a passion for horses. Ellie, their much-loved, horse-mad granddaughter in Cornwall, is hoping her grandparents' new home might conveniently come with a paddock where she could keep a pony. But this is no hardship for Keith, who shares his granddaughter's equine interests.
I've been volunteering for riding for the disabled for 2 or 3 years, I suppose. I started doing it, A, because I like horses, and B, because I suppose when you retire, you think you ought to do something voluntary. It's nice to feel that you're doing a little something for somebody else, but it's also immensely rewarding. I mean, I get a lot out of it as well.
You are very good with them.
With adults, mainly, no. But with children and animals, I get on very well.
Yes, I think it's his soft voice.
While Carol is also an animal lover and will enjoy helping out with the horses, she'll be equally happy to occupy herself indoors.
I'm looking forward to a new start with the move, something to build on. Yeah, I like looking after the home, really. I'm a home builder, I suppose, and a family person, so that's for me. Yeah.
You'll enjoy making another house, won't
Yeah,
you? Because you
I
do
will.
enjoy... Carol gets a huge kick out of making a home. And she's good at it.
OK.
On occasions when the Cornish weather turns inclement, Keith will have plenty to busy himself with, thanks to a new interest he's developed.
When I was laid up after a small operation, I couldn't do anything physical, so Carol bought me a couple of models to make something I've never done before, and I've now got truly into it. I can while away countless hours.
Yes, but you need a workshop because you keep creeping back into the house.
Well, that's true. It keeps spreading around the house. I've now been banned to the office above the garage, but it doesn't really suit the job, so I need a proper men's workshop.
That can get mucky.
Yes.
I can lose him for hours up there. It's
Yeah.
great.
Carol and Keith would like to be within easy driving distance of their family who live in Probus, so we're focusing our search within an hour's drive of the village. I'm catching up with them to learn more about what they're looking for in their new home.
Well, Carol, Keith, welcome to Cornwall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you are retired, but you're young and funky at heart, aren't you? You're into modern, open plan and all
Yes,
that.
oh, love it. Yes, I love modern bathrooms, modern kitchens.
It's motivated in part, this move, by family down here.
It is, yeah. My daughter lives down here with her family.
Now, this also brings us on to the granddaughter and horses.
Her mother has said the only way she'll be able to have a horse is if Nanny and Grandad keep it and look after it. At their expense, admittedly, because they don't want the tie.
Yeah.
So, whilst it's not something that has to be on the agenda,
Yeah.
if it so happened that we had the space, then I guess we would end up having horses.
Give us an idea of what it is you're looking for.
The kitchen in possibly with white gloss units, big enough to dine in.
And how many bedrooms do you think you need, Keith? Because you've got, obviously, family still in Hampshire who are going to come and visit.
We tend to look for a minimum 4 bedrooms, not necessarily because we need 4 bedrooms, but we do like large houses. I know there are only the 2 of us, but we like space.
We've talked about this modern feel, but you do quite like the idea of a barn conversion.
Yes, that fits in, I think, for me, because barn conversions can look very attractive outside, and for Carol, because of the very open, normally the very open interiors, high ceilings, and that suits her.
Many people also want quite a lavish garden and vegetables and all the rest of it, but that's not on your list, Carol.
No, it isn't, no. I had our garden redone to make it easily maintainable. It's just a lawn, a few shrubs and trees, lots of trees.
Now, you've given us £850,000 to spend, which is a very generous budget here. The best part of $1 million, let's be honest. You want a big house, Keith? We should certainly get you that for the money. We've got 3 to show you, including our mystery house.
Lovely.
Who knows? Who knows? Right, drink up your tea and we'll get going.
OK.
Thank you.
With a very healthy budget of £850,000, Carol and Keith would like a spacious home with a modern open-plan interior that includes a large kitchen diner and 4 bedrooms. Outside, Carol is keen on a low-maintenance garden, while Keith would be tempted by a pony paddock. And they're hoping to be within an hour's drive of the family in Probus. We have a fine selection of houses lined up to tempt them with, but I won't reveal the prices until the end of each house tour. One, of course, will be our mystery house, which should more than meet their modern living requirements. We're starting our search 15 miles west of Probus in the village of St Agnes on the north coast. This popular but unspoilt settlement, situated in an area of outstanding natural beauty, has a creative local community that supports a nice selection of independent shops and businesses. An easy walk from the village centre at the end of a quiet no-through lane is our first property.
What do you think?
It's quite pretty, isn't it?
Yeah?
I like the window frames.
The grey.
It's gorgeous.
I think it's very funky.
Really?
I think it's very you.
Really?
Let's see if I'm right. Come on.
Good.
The house was built in 1993, so it's a similar vintage to Keith and Carol's current home. But over the last 2 years, the owners here have done some quite major renovations, including adding a 2-storey annex.
What do you reckon?
Wow, this is a big room, isn't it?
Yeah. Is this the sort of funky, open plan feel that you had in mind?
Oh, yes. Yes, very much so.
You like a large living room,
I
don't
do,
you?
yes, yes.
With plenty of room for big sofas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I mean, the space in here is fabulous. You could arrange this in any way you like. Obviously, it's focused on that gorgeous, very contemporary wood burner there. I think this is a great start.
Yes, I agree.
Well, let's explore further. Come and look at this. This is your kitchen diner. There.
My goodness. Wow,
Yeah.
that is big, isn't it?
Come through to the middle. It's probably the best place to really see it. I mean, you talked about having a large sort of family room, family
Yes,
space.
I did, yeah.
I think this is sort of it, really.
That's
Yes.
certainly a large enough family space.
Yes.
And if all the family are here at once, I can just see them all kind of making use of the living room next door, spilling through into here. But in terms of the kitchen space, I mean,
More than adequate, I think is a good term.
there's also a really generous utility room through there as well. So
Okay.
plenty of room for all the rest of the bits and pieces you're going to need. I mean, it's a big house, this, but it's cosy. I think that's the thing, and it's not always easy to find that.
We like size and space and airiness, and this has got it.
It's got even more size through here.
Leading off from the generous entrance hall to the other side of the house, there's a space that's currently being used as a music room, but which perhaps Keith could earmark for his model-making pursuits. And next door to it, there's a twin bedroom which leads through to the recently built annex.
This room is really interesting.
Yeah.
This was the garage up until a couple of years ago. Come in, don't be shy. And what they've created is a really lovely one-bedroom annex, because up there you've got the bedroom and bathroom to go with it. And then this could be for your guests, because you've also got this kitchen unit behind me.
It's totally self-contained.
Totally self-contained. I know you're not looking for a holiday let, but this would be ideal for that. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if the family do come down for a long period of time,
Yes. Yeah.
they can have the run of it.
Absolutely. Yes, and you're not in each other's way, are you?
That's perfect for that.
It would be perfect for that.
Isn't it?
So that's your guests taken care of. Let's go back to the hallway
Yes.
and go up the main staircase, and there you've got another 5 bedrooms to play with,
Goodness.
including your master.
It is a big house.
Also on the ground floor of this expansive home, next to the utility room, there's a very stylish wet room with an adjoining sauna. Upstairs in the original part of the house, there's a family bathroom and those 5 bedrooms I mentioned, which are all of a decent size. But the biggest is the master.
Oh, I like the size of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just right.
Perfect size for you.
Yes.
It's got a very generous dressing area through there and a really nice ensuite,
Right.
effectively behind that wall and mirror.
No, that's a nice
Your
size.
7-foot wide bed will actually fit in here.
I think so, yeah.
How wide?
Perfectly.
7.
7 foot.
So it's a helipad, really.
You could land a heavy aircraft
Have you got
on
a
it.
duvet with a big H written on it? Brilliant. Now, we found a couple of rooms downstairs which could be modelling workshops or whatever, but there is plenty of space out there for all kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah?
Well, Keith and Carol's response to this modern, roomy home hasn't quite been as enthusiastic as I'd expected, but I'm hoping the outside space will win them over. There's a timber-decked area that wraps itself around the back of the house, providing a wonderfully sheltered sun trap, perfect for outdoor entertaining. And beyond that is a really large lawn lined with mature trees. But it doesn't end there.
So, how much land is there?
Where does it end?
Well, we've got the garden behind us, which you could do quite a lot with, but you also get this paddock, which is bounded by these very mature hedges you can see in front of us on those 3 sides.
Oh, you could play out there forever.
Yeah.
Well, certainly it's an ideal pony paddock.
Yeah, perfect.
Certainly looks big
Absolutely
enough.
Perfect.
So, how much is property number 1 on the market for?
I'm going for 799,950.
Very specific there, Keith.
I'm going to go a wee bit lower than that and say 775.
You're not far off, actually. It does begin with a 7. It's 795.
Wow.
You were closest.
How do we feel about that?
It's below budget.
It is below budget, yeah.
Yeah.
Well below budget.
Yeah, we could do what we
could
want
do
to
a
do
lot.
with it, I think.
Absolutely.
A great deal for
Yeah.
the...
Well, it is our first property, of course, so let's give you some time to look around it. Go and lose yourselves in one of those dozen or so rooms, and I will come and try and find you later on.
Okay.
All right.
Off you go.
Thank you.
£55,000 below their maximum budget, this stylishly renovated home definitely offers the modern look and space Keith and Carol are after. including a large kitchen diner, 5 bedrooms and that generous self-contained annex. And what's more, outside, there are more than 3 acres of land, including a 2-acre pony paddock for Keith.
I think the house is a beautiful size. The annex is great for when the family comes, and the children would love the spiral staircase.
The exterior, that for me is tantamount to perfection. A lovely formal garden. Immediately behind is a paddock, and that's precisely what I pictured as owning.
I think the house is very open. Possibly in my mind I thought maybe it would be a little bit more open plan.
As a family house, I think it's almost perfect. Whether it's quite the right layout for Carol and I'm not absolutely sure.
Right, so after you.
Thank you.
I do like a creaky door. Feels quite welcoming in a strange way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think this was a great start.
Yes.
I can see it's got you thinking.
Yes.
But I suspect we've still got some way to go.
You're very perceptive.
Yes.
Well, we've been doing this a little while.
Perceptive.
I'm also pretty sure we could do with some lunch. Come on.
Okay.
Thanks to its long, sinuous coastline, Cornwall is blessed with a multitude of magnificent beaches. And on the north coast, one of the most appealing is the sweeping golden crescent of Constantine Bay. With its sculptural sand dunes and thunderous surf, it's unsurprising artists have long been drawn to this beautiful beach. Keen homemaker Carol has a passion for interiors and design, so we've arranged for her and Keith to meet local artist Susie Ray, who finds inspiration from the objects washed up on the tide.
What have you found today?
Today I found loads of things. We found some cuttlefish, and these are common at the moment. Do you know what these are?
Looks like rubbish.
It does. It looks a bit like polystyrene or a bubble wrap.
Yeah.
These are actually the egg cases of the whelk, the common whelk.
So what do you do with all these findings from the beach?
Oh, I do a variety of things, but one of the things I really enjoy is doing rubbings. It's where you put a coat of paint onto something, you paint something, and you take an imprint.
The technique that Susie has adapted is known as gyotaku and was originally used by Japanese fishermen in the mid-1800s to record their catch. To acquaint themselves with this age-old process, Keith and Carol are joining Susie in her studio, which is just a mile from the beach.
Now for the big reveal. You never know what's gonna... Ooh.
It's looking good.
Oh, it's looking good.
Oh,
that's
look
very
at
good.
that.
Isn't that clever?
That's amazing.
See that detail?
Using some items Susie collected from the beach earlier, it's now Keith and Carol's turn to get their hands dirty.
So, Keith, there you go. Start painting inwards, outwards on the strokes of that piece of kelp.
And maybe even create a Cornish coast-themed artwork to adorn their new home.
That's great, Carol. That's looking good. Keith, would you like to take that
Okay.
and lay that? That's it. Try and cover the whole. That's perfect. That's it.
Completed prints are scanned so that Susie can use them in a variety of ways. As well as creating wall prints, she applies the delicate images to china and to linen, which can be made into tea towels, cushions and bedding.
OK, we're ready to start peeling back the cloth and see what we've got underneath.
I think I feel quite nervous about
That's
this.
very exciting.
Roll of
Let's have a look.
drums.
Whoa, Carol. Oh, here we
wow,
go.
look.
Look at that. That's
That's
amazing.
actually quite good, isn't it?
Right. What have we got here? Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
That's really nice. So you're off to a good start with furnishing your new home in Cornwall from found on the beach things straight off the beach in Cornwall.
That's a lovely idea.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
we
you,
will.
Susie.
Well, it was such a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Continuing our search, we're heading 30 miles north to the hamlet of Trenaio, 3/4 of an hour's drive from the family in Probus. And just over a mile away is the atmospheric fishing port of Padstow. As one of the few safe harbours along Cornwall's rugged north coast, it's provided a haven for seafarers and fishermen for centuries. In more recent years, the town's become a mecca for foodies who flock to the first-class restaurants that continue to spring up in its beautifully age-worn narrow streets. So plenty of dining out options for Keith and Carol, because our second offering is just a few minutes' drive from the town.
there.
That looks
huge.
interesting.
Well, we've taken you at your word when you said you quite liked the idea of a barn conversion.
The structure looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
It's a typical, what I think of as a typical country home. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, I know you want a low-maintenance garden.
Yes,
This is kind of most of it.
it is. And it's great. Because, Jules, I put my pots out with the plants in.
Carol's
Yeah.
a pot gardener.
Yeah, this would be covered in pots.
So this is one where, if you're interested in riding, Keith, it's down the road. And there's a stables a mile away with livery and all the rest of it. Or maybe you could just take the kids riding
Oh,
and save yourself all the hassle of having all those
I know.
acres.
that would be perfect.
Well, let's see what you think. Come on then, let's have a look. Come with me.
The property, which is made of local Cornish stone, was originally 2 separate barns. But in 2006, the buildings were linked to create one very large home.
Let's start in here. Come in and enjoy the space.
What a lovely room.
That's
isn't it?
very pretty. Very pretty.
That's a working fire, not a gas
Right.
look-alike.
Don't like all fireplaces, but that one
Yeah, it's nice,
is
isn't it?
very nice.
This has got a lovely feel to it, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Good, let's continue through here then. Have a look at the dining room.
Well, I'm delighted by Carol and Keith's response to the house so far. Continuing through from the living room, there's an attractive dining room with double doors that give it plenty of light. And beyond that, there's a room I'm particularly eager to show them.
Come and look at this. This is, I think, extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah?
Wow.
truly impressively done.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that.
It's great, isn't it? Lovely range there. But the striking feature is, of course, the curve.
Yes.
Now, if I were doing this up, you might think twice perhaps about putting the kitchen in here because of the work involved in creating not just curved units and all the carpentry involved in that, but also this curved Corian worktop.
Yes. Yes.
But they've risen to the challenge and I think produced something quite
It's
stunning.
quite unique.
Oh, yeah, we said the word together.
It's unique. It is gorgeous. It really is gorgeous.
Well, let's continue. Now, let's do the curve. Look at this sweeping arc. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It is.
This curvaceous kitchen is the point at which the second barn was linked to the rest of the house, adding a whole lot more space, including a reception room and 2 ensuite double bedrooms. On the floor above, there's a storage room and a 3rd bedroom.
So we're now into, I'm going to call it cottage. I mean, it's ludicrous to call it an annex. And then leading off of it, you've got these ensuite bedrooms.
Really?
And the join between the original and the extension is utterly seamless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well, Keith and Carol said they loved space, and they've got plenty here for visiting friends and family. And back in the original part of the property, there are still more rooms to explore.
So up here, we start with a kind of study landing area, which you could have as just another little private sitting room. And it leads on into your master suite, which is here.
That's nice, isn't it?
Delightfully pretty again.
Yeah?
Another pretty
again.
one.
Yeah.
Through there you've got bathroom only, no shower in it at the moment, but it wouldn't be a huge effort to make that into a shower over the bath. And then that leads on to another bedroom, which is again en suite.
It's got a lovely feel. The whole house has.
All
It's
the
got a
rooms
lovely
are very
feel.
comfortable, very cosy, very tastefully finished.
So I wonder how much it's worth. Should we go outside and consider?
Why not?
Yes.
Let's hope it's good news, eh? Come this way.
Despite being less modern and less open plan than the first property we showed them, Carol and Keith seem really taken with this one. It doesn't have as much land as our first house or a pony paddock for Keith, but the approximately 1/4 acre of grounds are made up of attractive paved areas and beds of mature shrubs, which offer Carol that low-maintenance outdoor space she's hoping for.
And the thing I like about this space, it's a much more intimate area for exterior dining than perhaps you've got at the front.
Yes.
You guessed first last time, so Keith, you've got £850,000 to spend. Will it do it here?
I'd say about 800.
800, yeah?
I'm going to say 845.
It isn't 845. This could be yours for £825,000. £25,000.
I'm surprised.
It's taken you a bit by surprise, isn't it?
It has actually, because it is a beautiful house.
I think it's taken Carol by surprise
Yeah.
at the extent to which she likes what it is.
Yeah, it is lovely.
Yeah. Let's go and get you some extra time to look around this place,
Okay.
because there's an awful lot to take in. But yeah, I think it's gone rather well.
Yes.
£25,000 under their maximum budget, this immaculately renovated stone property is made up of not one, but 2 converted barns, which Keith and Carol are keen on. There are 5 bedrooms and that beautifully crafted curved kitchen. It doesn't come with land for a pony, but it does have a generous paved area with an easy-to-care-for garden for Carol.
Oh, this is sweet, isn't it? Isn't this nice?
Every room is pretty,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
They're all
It's
attractive.
sweet. It's just my colour scheme too.
That's the style you do and
Yeah,
the colour.
yes, yeah. This house is so well done. It's unbelievable. It really is a very, very attractive property. The kitchen is just something to die for. What can you say? It's just perfect, really.
This house could be a contender if I could get over the fact there is no land and no sizable garden. But the house is very attractive and I think I could possibly be persuaded.
If I was to sum up the property, I think it's the best house I have seen when we've been looking for a property in probably 18 months. It's probably the best house I've ever seen out of all of them. In fact, it is the best house.
You know, any concerns I may have had about the size of this property, or indeed its modernity, have evaporated. They have absolutely loved it, haven't you?
Oh, it's lovely.
Your face, Carol.
It's really
Keith is a
lovely.
picture. But what a day of 2 halves, really. We started with something new and we've ended with something old, and who knows, maybe we've cracked it.
Maybe we have.
We could do. It's a lovely house.
Yes.
But there is one more to come. Mystery House tomorrow morning. Come on,
Should be interesting.
let's go and have supper.
It's the second day of our house hunt, and with a sizable budget of £850,000, we're helping Keith and Carol leave the suburbs of Fleet, Hampshire, to find a Cornish country home to retire to. Still to come, the thoroughly modern Mystery House certainly makes an impression.
I've heard you use the word funky, and that's a great description of what I'm seeing. It really is.
And I meet some friendly, local marine mammals
That's incredible. Hey.
who found refuge in one of the country's oldest seal sanctuaries.
Well, as we head out on our final day of house hunting here in Cornwall with Keith and Carol, I'm beginning to wonder if my understanding of modern open plan is really the same as theirs. Property 1 yesterday fulfilled all of their criteria and more, whilst Property 2, being far more traditional, seemed to get more of a response. But they were very clear about their brief. So, taking them at their word, our marvellously modern Mystery House could really test them. In fact, it's so exceptional, it's very 21st century.
Journeying 15 miles up the north coast, we reach Port Isaac, 3/4 of an hour's drive from the family Improbus and the final stop on our search. Tucked away in a steep-sided cove, this quintessentially Cornish fishing village is famed for its crab and lobster catch, its welcoming pubs and beautiful old whitewashed cottages. On the outskirts of the village, occupying a gorgeous hilltop setting, is our one-of-a-kind Mystery House.
This is very exciting. Come over here, take it all in. What do you think of that, madam?
Wow, it looks very light. It must be light. Look at the windows.
It is fantastically efficient as a new build, very eco-friendly, overlooking Port Isaac.
That's fantastic.
I mean, as a slice of Cornwall, it doesn't get much more Cornish than that. Wait till you see inside, it's crazy, this.
Clad in distinctive red cedar, this standout home was built just over 10 years ago and was designed by award-winning architects.
Now, what about this then?
Oh, goodness.
Yes, my goodness indeed.
That is a surprise.
You
It's a lot to take in one go, isn't it?
You like contemporary?
Yeah.
This is contemporary with a vengeance.
Certainly is, isn't it?
Yeah?
That is light and airy and very unusual.
Isn't it?
Very. Very unusual.
Really bold design, this one. I love it.
Yeah.
It's really clever, and it's got this lovely galleries you can see which goes up to the bedrooms. You know, it doesn't come much more open plan than this. You know, the kitchen diner is enormous.
Yes, yeah. Just huge, isn't it?
It does have the oil-fired range there. That's the main source of heating for most of it. And that heat that's coming off of that convected heat, is heating the whole thing. That's how efficient the building is to run.
It is very unusual.
Isn't it?
I've never
just?
seen anything like this. Never.
But I get the feeling it's quite pleasing, Keith.
I've heard you use the word funky, and that's a great description of what I'm seeing. It really is.
The central living space has certainly made an impact, and I'm pretty sure the sitting room next door will impress too, with its excellent views out to Port Isaac.
There's the wood burner. Nice traditional feel to that one, actually, providing a nice focus, I think.
Yes, I like the slate half.
For the room, yeah,
think
very
it's slate.
simple, very functional. And I really enjoy these alcoves with their downlighters and so forth.
Well, you love that sort of thing,
I
don't
do,
you?
actually,
Alcoves,
yeah.
lights, bits and pieces to put in
Yeah.
them. I just can't take my eyes off of that view through those French doors. That's just amazing.
Well, the view is even better upstairs.
Also on the ground floor, just off the kitchen area, there's a utility room, and next to that is a study that could also work as a bedroom or a model-making space for Keith. Upstairs, the wonderfully unique, slightly curved gallery leads us to the first of 3 bedrooms.
There. Even more views for you.
Oh, wow, look at that, Keith.
Just gets better, doesn't it?
Yes.
This is currently the master bedroom.
Right.
It's not, as such, en suite, but the bathroom is right next door.
Although the bedroom's not that big, you're borrowing the size from out there. You're borrowing the land
And the feel.
and using it as part of your environment.
It's a very good point to make. What's going through your mind here, Carol?
Not sure the bedroom's quite big enough for me.
I mean, there is a
Isn't it?
bigger double at the other end,
Yeah.
currently used by the owner's daughter. So you might be able to kind of think about putting yourself
At the other end.
At the other end. You can have a look at that a
But
little
do
bit
you
later
lose
on.
the view at the other end?
Well, you do. That's why it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. Well, let's take a glance at the rest of it, and then we're going to go outside and talk about the price.
Okay.
And have another look at that view. Why not?
After you.
They love the view, but it seems perhaps the room isn't quite big enough to accommodate that 7-foot bed. In between the 2 larger bedrooms at either end of the house is a 3rd, smaller room. Heading outside, the property sits on around 1/5 of an acre, and to make the most of its fabulous elevated position, the deck we entered from spans the full length of the house, and the hot tub comes with it.
Well, the weather really has created, I think, the final scene for us here at this property.
As a scene, it couldn't be bettered. You couldn't make it up.
This is what most people come to Cornwall to find, and you could potentially wake up to this every day of the week for the foreseeable future, if this property is for you. Obviously, it doesn't have as many rooms as the others we've shown you. It doesn't have acres, of course, Keith. We're tucked into the hillside here, but it makes up for it, I think, with its aspect. But let's think about the money then. Our final price guess of the week. You can go first then.
Okay, I think because of the view, it will demand a higher rate, and I'm guessing at £850.
£850, yeah.
Well, this is a difficult one because it's unique. 860, 875.
I think you are right to err at the higher end. But here's the thing. This is on the market for £800,000.
I'm amazed.
That's lower than I would have expected for something like this.
Yeah.
Despite
I mean,
the size.
It is the smallest property we've shown you, obviously, but I think as a mystery house, it's worked really well.
Yes.
I think, actually, if I'm honest, Keith, you're more into this than you are, Carol.
I think so.
What's that word I'm looking for? It's the ambience
Yeah.
of the whole thing, the
Yeah.
house, the exterior, the views, the location up on the hillside.
Yeah.
It's something a lot of people would only ever dream about.
Well, we're going to give you a bit more time to soak this place up. It may grow on you.
Yes. May well do, yes.
Go on then, off you go.
Thank you.
I will catch up with you a little bit later on.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Below their maximum budget by £50,000, our very contemporary mystery house certainly has the open-plan living Keith and Carol said they were after, with its huge double-height kitchen dining space. It only has 3 of the 4 bedrooms they were hoping for, but it does have those terrific views.
I like the mystery house. It takes quite a bit of getting used to because it is utterly unique. The location and the views really, I don't think, could be paralleled anywhere. They certainly couldn't be bettered.
I think it's extremely modern. I love the light. I'm just not sure it's quite big enough for us. Keith is blown away with the view. It does make up for a lot, but for me, it's not quite enough. For Keith, it would be.
If I was to consider giving up the idea of having some land, which was one of the ideas of moving to Cornwall, that sort of view and this sort of location could persuade me to do so.
You know, despite the fact it is actually really cold here in Cornwall, it's still tempting to get in here. This is brilliant. It's so warm.
Is it?
How about it?
Lovely.
Well, sleep in there.
Shall we jump in?
I dare you. I dare you.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I think you've got better things to do. I think you've got a lot of thinking to be getting on with because I suspect there is a decision to be made soon.
I think so.
You're right.
I think so.
Come on then, let's go and think.
OK.
Cornwall's rich coastline offers one of Britain's finest marine environments, and among the varied wildlife found around its shores is the grey seal. Providing rescue and rehabilitation for these charismatic creatures is the Cornish Seal Sanctuary. Situated on the banks of the Helford River, it was established in 1958 and is now one of the oldest seal sanctuaries in the country. I'm meeting up with Jess Grove, one of the centre's animal care assistants.
So over 50 years, seals have been coming here to get put back together again. Give us an idea of the numbers that you deal with.
Each year we rescue between 40 to 60. We have a really high success rate. We try and release everyone that we rescue over the winter, but occasionally we do have to keep 1 or 2 of them back.
Well, let's go see some seals, shall we?
Yes, definitely. Let's go.
The sanctuary is a lifeline for seals found struggling to survive, whether due to malnutrition, infection or injury. Many of the casualties are pups who've been separated from their mothers. The seals receive medical treatment and stay an average of 3 months to build condition. After that, they're ready to be released back into the wild as close as possible to the location where they were first found.
Ah, here they all are then.
Yep, so this is our convalescence pool, and it's just been cleaned this morning, that's why it's empty. So in here we've got about 33 pups at the moment. You can see the guys there, they're just checking everyone's all happy and healthy, and that they're all a good weight, and we don't have to keep an eye on anyone.
Grey seals are relatively rare, numbering 350,000 worldwide. But close to half of that population is found in the UK, where their numbers are stable, thanks in part to the work of organisations like this one.
Now, they do look quite cute, it has to be said. And many people might be tempted, if they saw a seal on a beach, to wander up and try and pet it. We should be absolutely clear, that's a real no-no.
Yeah, definitely. As a pup, you might disturb it from its mother, causing it to be abandoned. With an older seal, you know, they do have a very sharp bite on them. And quite often, if they're hauled out on a beach, they just want a bit of a sleep. So yeah, do give them a bit of space.
The very few seals that are diagnosed as unable to survive in the wild become permanent, well-cared-for residents, like these guys, who are the only common seals living at the sanctuary.
Hello, and who are you?
So if you tap your foot on the floor, she'll come target it with her nose.
Just like that?
Yeah. Lena.
What's that? Go on then.
Good girl. That's it, and you can give her a fish as well.
That's incredible. So no day is the same, and there's always something to amuse you.
Definitely. They're such big characters, and they're all so different. You can't be unhappy around them. They're too funny.
Well, Jess, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And throw her a fish.
That's incredible. Hey, that deserves a fish. Go on then. Well, for the last few hours, we have left Keith and Carol in a little cafe overlooking this gorgeous bay to consider the 3 properties we've been able to show them. Now, I think we all know by now there really is only one that they've fallen in love with. But as ever, do they love it enough to want to buy it? Well, there's only one way to find out, of course, and that's to ask them. Well, you know, I think we've spoiled you this week. Here we are finishing up in a nice little cafe overlooking the coast. It's all rather lovely, isn't it?
It is lovely.
But how are you feeling, most importantly?
I think I'm slightly confused because I actually think I rather like the second property.
I think you do too.
I do.
You gave us a very clear brief. Big, light, modern, open plan. We certainly gave you that in 2 of our properties.
Yes.
But number 2 was the one that was a bit different.
I think you've taken Carol out of her comfort zone and showed her something different in house number 2 that she discovered that she very much liked.
Is Keith right? Has that made sense of it for you?
Absolutely right. Yes, he is. Whilst the rooms were separate, they flowed beautifully, and there was lots of potential to do what I would like to do with them.
What happens next then?
I have got reservations on the fact that there's very little land, so I think I need to consider whether I can forget the style of living that I was considering having, namely with the land, and living more with the house itself and the opportunities for activities in the area. Only being a mile from Padstow, the thought of sailing or boating comes to mind.
See, I think you've got so many things to tempt you with in and around here that, quite frankly, you know, having a few acres to look after almost might be a bit of a burden, actually.
Could be too much.
You have got a point. You really have got a point.
So might we hear the phone ring with news of an offer having been made on number 2?
We would certainly like to go back and have another look, and to have another look perhaps around the immediate area, but certainly number 2 is the one that is worth considering as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
Well, guys, it's been a real pleasure. Let us know how you get on.
We will, obviously.
But it's been great fun. You've been fantastic company.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank
you very much. It's been enormous fun.
Now, as with any property hunt, our buyers can challenge us with a potentially limitless number of requirements, but making sense of them, well, that is the trick. And I think this week with Keith and Carol has been a case in point. We started out trying to follow a very specific wish list, but as it is with property number 2, they've ended up with something they really weren't expecting. Once again, the Cornish property market has not disappointed us. Now, all I've got to do is go home. So remember that coastal path we started the show with? Well, I think I'll try that. Should only take me a couple of weeks.
If you would like to escape to the country in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland or England and would like our help, then why not apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.